Hi everyone, my name is Shirvington and I'm the author of the Embrace series, and I'm recording this today to talk to you about Empower, which is just coming out in the US and Canada. And it's with kind of mixed emotions that I'm recording this, mostly because it's the final book in this series and it's hard to say goodbye. These characters have dominated my life for the last 4 years. In pretty much every situation I have faced, I've always thought to myself that sort of extra final thought, what would Violet do? Or how would Steph react? Or, would Onyx just blow that up? And it's just become a part of my world. And my husband actually jokes that Violet is like the fifth member of our family. He's just grateful that she doesn't eat very much. But I love these characters. So writing the final book was really important to me. I wanted to get it right, and I didn't want it to be just this wrap up, I wanted it to be a great story. And so it starts in London, and the reason I chose London was because everything had ended on a very hard note at the end of Endless, and Violet needed a new place to be, and London seemed like a great option. I had lived in London for 6 years with my husband, so I knew the city really well, and I was able to choose the locations that I thought Violet and the Grigori would hang out, but also where I thought exiles might lurk in the shadows. So I had a really great time writing the scenes that are set in London, and it definitely starts off with a bit of a bang. But of course we need to bring Violet back to the people who are so important to her life, and of course to Lincoln and Phoenix, and the dynamic is as ever strong between those characters, and it's time for Violet to face a few home truths and also make some final discoveries about who she is. For me, this series, I suppose it started as a bit of a coming of age series, Violet's coming of age, but also some of the other characters as well. I think characters like Steph and Spence have very much come into their own through this series, and I've enjoyed writing and also watching them develop on the page. But it's also been a book that's become about relationships and about dealing with the realities of relationships, even within a very unreal world. And I've been proud and frustrated at different times of how the characters have dealt with things, and I'm sure that many of you listening have felt at times like you've wanted to just grab Violet and just tell her, sort it out. And I have definitely wanted that too, but for me that's been the beauty of it. She's had to find her own way. But in Empower, I really feel that this is her moment to shine. And so I needed another setting that was somewhere where I would bring them all together. And of course New York is part of it because the Academy is based there, but I also take them to New Orleans, and that was a new thing for me because I'd never been to New Orleans. So I went and spent 2 weeks there and used that as a research trip. So I did the normal kind of touristy things, went to the plantations, did the cemetery tours and the voodoo, but it really was just spending time walking the streets during the day, and then seeing how alive it became in the evening, spending time walking up and down the Mississippi and finding buildings that were just unreal and amazing to use as my settings that I never would have discovered if I hadn't been there myself. But it was in this time just walking around that I discovered the real soul that it buzzes through that city, and a lot of my preconceived ideas of New Orleans were really thrown out, and a lot of my early drafts when I'd started before I'd been there were also thrown out as a result. And I think it made the book and the story stronger because when Violet goes there, it's her first experience in New Orleans, so I was really able to feed through that and wash away maybe some preconceived ideas as well. So for me as a writer, that was great. And also being able to then work the dynamics of the relationships, plus a really big threat that had to be bigger than anything they'd faced before. It all sort of comes together in Empower. So I really hope that everyone enjoys it. And yes, there is a part of me that wants to kind of scream, stop, no, that's not it, it's not the end, because I feel like I could write these characters forever. I feel like I'm so attached to them that I want to keep going and want to know what happens next. And I know that a lot of readers have written to me and said, why are you finishing here? But really, I wanted to finish when it was the right time for them and not the right time for me. And I wanted to finish still loving them, not feeling like I had sort of wrung them dry. And I feel like that this was the right point to finish Violet's story. And I really hope that you guys agree. And I also want to thank you all very much for coming with me on this journey. It really has been a journey for me, but I hope for you guys sitting in your homes or wherever it is that you choose to read, that you feel as coming to the end, it has been time well spent. I know that it has been for me, and I hope that you enjoy this final chapter in Violet's story. Thanks guys, see you later.